You've only been known as the Pink Jacket Lady up to now. What is your name and what do you do?
Yeah, my name is Stella Carlson. I am a children's entertainer. I run a children's entertainment company. I'm a face and body painter, also an airbrush artist.
Why have you decided to come forward?
I really believe that America wants the truth, and I want people to know who I am, so I'm not just the Pink Jacket Lady, and that I represent all of us, because we all have a story and we all have a reason in which we decide to go to the street and open our phones and video record. And I just feel called to be somebody to show my face and represent that. We ask the ICE agents and all of the people in the streets who are infiltrating and making us unsafe to do the same thing. So this is an opportunity for me to show my face.
How long have you been involved with monitoring law enforcement actions here?
Only the past 3 weeks, the month of January, since they've been infiltrating our streets, kidnapping people off the street. So since the beginning, I was doing meal delivery 3 weeks ago and trying to make sure that I was a part of the mutual aid. That moved to crisis response and just walking my neighborhood, most specifically the schools, and making sure when school got out that there were enough bodies in the area for people to just feel safe.
So Saturday morning, what were your plans Saturday morning?
Saturday morning I was booked to be at a church to face paint for 3 hours for their community gathering.
You're going to be face painting kids?
Yes. I had some downtime. I got ready a little too quick that day.
So you heard the whistles somewhere
close by
and decided to drive there?
Yes. When I turned onto Nicollet Avenue, my plan was to just drive by and kind of assess what is going on.
When did you see Alex Preddy? What interaction did you have with him before the camera was rolling?
Yeah, so when I turned, the caravan of vehicles of ICE agents, I could tell were starting to kind of move in and block us in. I could have probably gotten through, and I'll be clear to say that as I went, I was almost going to be driving past Alex, and I did think of Renee Good in that moment, because as I looked forward, I was seeing somebody on the ground being tackled by agents. I saw another vehicle coming the other direction trying to drive through, getting tackled by agents, and they were punching the windows. So at that moment, I was like, I need to not go forward. And I looked at Alex, he looked at me, and he pointed to the parking spot, and I was like, okay, just park.
When you hit record, Alex Preddy is in the frame. Did you know him in advance?
I did not.
You then kind of moved to focus on two women who are having a closer interaction with Border Patrol agents. And Alex Preddy crosses the frame and has his video camera in his right hand and is seems to be directing traffic with his left.
It took me a minute to get my phone going because I was shaking already. But I have thought about this a lot, and there were so many agents and so many bystanders and people being abused. I honestly blocked all of that out. In the moment, I saw one of my community members in the street alone directing traffic and nobody else was around. I was like, okay, Alex is filming these ICE agents and the traffic. I'm gonna film him. So I was his backup, is how I felt about it in my risk assessment.
Did you say anything to him?
To Alex?
Yeah.
No, we never did speak.
Christy Nome said this looks like a situation where an individual arrived at the scene to inflict maximum damage on individuals and to kill law enforcement. Is that at all what was happening?
Absolutely not. And the most offensive thing you could say about somebody who has done so much for our country, and which I didn't even know at the time. But what I did know is this person was calm and was handling it with grace and consistency and definitely without threat.
You didn't see the gun that apparently was holstered?
No, and to be clear, if I had, I maybe wouldn't have stayed so close. I'm not comfortable with guns, period.
Christy Nome said that Alex Preddy, quote, approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm handgun. She's implying he was brandishing a weapon.
Absolutely not. And in fact, I am grateful that I was in a position to be there for my community and for our whole state to stop the lies and the madness and allow there to be proof of that.
Your video and the video of others, but your video in particular, is essential proof to what actually happened.
Yes.
Did you know that right away?
Absolutely not. I was hoping it was recording, you know, that I hit the record button or I didn't turn it off. The moment they were telling Alex and I to back up is when my phone went down and I was going over the snowbank. There was a Border Patrol agent looking at me and barking at us, and that is when you hear me go, I don't know, I'm not really remember what I said, but it was like, okay, or stop. Like, so aggressive, so inappropriately rude and violent, and the way they look at you is so violent. But I've been really frustrated that my camera went down for that moment.
When it comes back up, they are right there. The women, Mr. Preddy, and the law enforcement agents. Do you have a sense of roughly how many feet away you were? Because when you see it from other angles across the street, you are clearly visible. It looks like you're up against a storefront. I mean, it looks like it could be, you know, in under 10 feet away.
Yeah, I would say it went from 5 feet to 10 feet. I kind of moved between that.
Were you scared?
I was terrified, but I was more worried about this not being documented.
He and they are sprayed with a chemical agent. Do you remember seeing that?
You know, it's so wild, I don't. There was a certain point in filming where I was looking at the camera because, you know, when you're filming, you're like, okay, I'm filming. Once she was pushed down, I knew I was filming something. Before, I was just kind of filming in case something happens. Once something starts happening, my brain just went into like, there's something happening. And I just locked into my phone and I just started staring. That is when I started looking through my phone. I had no idea that tear gas even occurred. I had no idea tear gas was in the air. My eyes were burning, but I was confused by that. I was like, why do my eyes burn? No, I didn't know.
It appears the focus of these Border Patrol officers goes from these two women.
Right.
And then turns to Alex Preddy. He still has his camera out, but they seem to then focus on him, pulling him down onto the ground.
Alex made that choice to be kind, and how they made the focus about him, I think, is because they saw him as interfering at that point.
Did it seem to you in that moment, and having looked at the tape, that those agents were angry? Were emotional?
I think they're rested in a calm anger, which is terrifying. I think because of the protections that have been given to them, I don't think they have a reason to feel anything but confident about what they're doing, and that this is some type of video game. That's how it feels. It feels like we are a joke, that our civil rights are a joke, that our Constitution is something to be laughed at.
That's what you have seen in the streets.
That is how they behave. Right. That is what many of us have seen, and that is what we're currently seeing.
On your video, we hear them saying he's got a gun, he's got a gun. They say a few other things along the lines of he's got a gun or gun. Do you remember hearing that in real time? You know,
I didn't hear anything.
Your video captures the moment in which the officer removes his gun.
Right.
After they have said he's got a gun. It's very hard to see even on the video. You have to kind of slow it down.
And then before you knew it, pow, 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 and I saw Alex on the ground. And then there's nobody around. After he was shot, the agents fled, and all I saw was Alex on the ground.
One of the things that's shocking about the number of shots is that the last 5 shots or so are actually from a distance where he appears already lying on the ground, not moving. Do you remember that? Again, this is happening in
I mean,
5
honestly,
to 10
Alex
seconds.
being shot is the most memorable part of it. The agents are not a part of that, I think, because I watched him die. I mean, I watched him die. I remember him arching his back and his head rolling back, and it was so fast moving, but not for me. Like, when they left, when they fled, which now I see, that after the shooting they decided to just scatter and save themselves. watching him die.
When the shots are fired, you begin to scream. What the F did you just do? Do you remember that moment? Do you remember screaming that?
I remember the feeling inside my body. I mean, of course, I wish I wasn't saying that word so often, but at the same time, that's how angry and like, I don't know if anger is the right, mortified. That's just how mortified I have been feeling and helpless. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Like, what? What? And I knew he was gone because I watched it. And then they come over to try to perform some type of medical aid by ripping his clothes open with scissors and then maneuvering his body around like a rag doll, only to discover that it could be because they wanted to count the bullet wounds to see how many they got, like he's a deer. I watched that, and that is what it felt like they were doing, and that is part of why I was like, what are you guys doing? Why would you jostle his body around like that? You're not even doing anything to help him. But I knew he was gone.
You knew he was gone then?
I knew he was gone. There was no way with the way his body was moving, and I only knew that because of the way they were manipulating his dead body, just playing with it. Like they're in a video game. They were looking at us and laughing.
After the shooting?
Yes. I mean, the reason of escalation was due to the mockery. We understand why the MPD is unable to intervene on a level we would like. But you would like to think that their kindness, compassion, looking us in the eyes would occur in these moments when we're being attacked in the streets. And the MPD just felt like they were part of that team at that moment. And maybe that, I'm not talking about the whole department.
Were Minneapolis Police Department people on the scene?
Once the yellow tape was up, there were MPD officers who were standing in line, 5 of them, I think, and they wouldn't look at us. Everyone just kept saying, just look at us. You're our representatives. You work for us. Why won't you look at us? Like a part of our community just was murdered in the street. Like, you're our Minneapolis Police Department. Why won't you even just look at us to give us solidarity? You know, when we walk around with the whistles around our neck, it's not that we have, like, we know we can't do much. But what we do know is that we can let our community at large know when we're walking around, like, I see you, and if you're stuck in your apartment, I want you to see me. I'm another person walking around who is here to protect you as best I can with my whistle and my phone, which really feels not great.
And yet, you stood there with a phone and you documented this. You didn't run away.
I am not one to run. When I'm afraid, I just, no way was I going to leave Alex by himself, undocumented. Like, that wasn't an option. I mean, obviously somebody was just executed in the street. I knew I was in danger. We all were. But I wasn't going to leave if we weren't all cleared out. And if it wasn't for the collective actions over the past 3 weeks, I don't know if I would have been able to stay that long. But I knew that this was a moment, and we all have to be brave. And we all have to take risks. And we're all going to be given moments to make that decision. And I guess in my default mind of crisis there, that's where mine fell. And I'm grateful to myself, and I'm grateful to anybody who was supportive to me after, to make sure I could get to safety and get that video uploaded to the right people.
The federal government says that they are investigating what happened. Have you been contacted by anyone from the federal government? FBI?
No, I have
Border
not.
Patrol, Homeland Security?
I do have a legal team now who are fielding much of that, and I am no longer accessible in those ways.
I talked to your attorney this morning. She said she had not received any outreach from the FBI or anybody from the federal government.
I do not think they have my name yet. Obviously they will.
You've given testimony to state investigators.
Yes.
Do you have confidence in a federal investigation?
No. No, I do not. I have faith in various representatives throughout our country who are trying to do the right thing and make sure that justice is served. I have faith in our local government in Minnesota. I think they are wanting to make sure to protect us and investigate it thoroughly, but they are trying to block that from happening. They wouldn't even let the investigative team come to the crime scene. I mean, their goal is to protect themselves and to spin stories.
It's incredible to me, though, that 4 days after this shooting, you have not been contacted by anybody from the FBI or the federal government. Right. What does that tell you?
That they're protecting themselves and they don't care about the truth of what happened. They're looking for their way to create the truth that protects them and allows them to move forward with whatever it is, which we all have various ideas of what that looks like, but whatever it is that their long game is in creating this violence in our streets. This is not, these are people from all over the country who have not been trained to intervene, kick down doors, break away families, leave children stranded in the street without their parents, having communities throughout Minnesota trying to come together to figure out who can foster all of these children who have been abandoned in apartments that have been kicked down with now no family around. I mean, how can you justify that? There's enough evidence for what they've been doing before it ever came to murder.
To you, this is murder?
Yes, I know it is. It was an assassination in full view in the middle of the streets of somebody who has served our country and continues to at the Veterans Hospital. Like, nobody should have to worry about being assassinated in their streets, especially in America, which nowhere it should be that way. I think people are feeling like there's nobody here to help us. There's nobody who can step in to protect us. And I think people are at a loss and shooken, like, what do we do? What can we do? What is in our constitutional rights that don't seem to matter? The Constitution doesn't seem to matter. There's many people who have died, but we don't know what that looks like. You know, people from being detained and having a medical crisis without intervention. I've heard of many stories where people are sick and they don't have their medications. Like, all of those human rights violations, those stories aren't being told yet. So this is only the beginning of a very long road when this does end. We're all ready to move forward with productive ways to make this better. But how do we do that when our local officials in the state of Minnesota also have their hands tied? So it broke down to, then it's us. We only have each other. Nobody's here for us. Nobody's going to help us right now because their hands are tied. So this is what we can do. I can document in case somebody gets detained, which is what I was filming, right? In case someone gets detained. Did I think I was going to be filming a murder? No. An assassination? No.
Do you worry about you becoming a target because you've spoken out?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. But yeah, I hope that me coming forward and doing this allows others to do it with me. I think there's safety in more of us taking those risks. But I understand we cannot all do that. This is just, you know, one more moment to tell the truth, one more moment to, I'm just here to represent all the work we're doing, and I'm here to represent the truth. I'm not here to represent me, I'm here to represent we. I care about my community, I care about my state and my country. And this is one small thing I can do.
大家好，我是主播周玉琴。很多的朋友告诉我们，选择原版的太阳星全效克菲尔益生菌，它添加有羽衣甘蓝，健康再加分。而有睡眠困扰的朋友们，赶快选择蓝色包装这一款晚安加强版，绝对是更有感。每日克菲尔，时刻美好 ，Good Feel Good， 请上快点购为健康下单，而且要记得输入推荐代码，有额外的折扣优惠。太阳星全效克菲尔益生菌基础版、晚安加强版，新包装改版，内容不变，抽取更方便。要吃就吃最好的。